I was smiling from ear to ear this whole scene because it's just so cool. It's so cinematic and her fear feels so real and it's just so awesome. Like, holy shit, yes, girl.
You're listening to Getting Fae'd. We,
Meike,
Lukas,
and Lea are reading A Court of Mist and Fury for the very first time. Today we are covering chapters 12 and 13. Get Fae'd with us.
Woo! Guys, I have a complaint to file.
A complaint? Oh no.
It's with Tamlin. Because he...
What?
Mr. Spring. Can he please explain to me why it's like 30 degrees outside in April? In April? In April?
Is he the reason for climate change? Do we have another reason to hate him?
Yes.
Probably, because he's probably responsible for the spring magic and his emotions are running high, so maybe that's why it's so warm in April.
Wow.
Or is he beefing with Summer Court and Summer Court is winning?
Or maybe because you are listening to this episode in June, the book is sending us June weather, so we can feel like we're in June. So the recording is more authentic.
Thanks.
Okay, nice.
Because it's so comfy, cozy to record at 30 degrees in the stuffy ass...
There was a fly.
In the stuffy ass studio with a fly.
All the Americans listening must think it's so cold in German June. 30 degrees, what?
30 degrees Celsius.
Celsius.
Which I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit?
I would guess maybe like 100, roughly.
I don't know. I've gotten very friendly with an electric fan last summer. But
Okay, tell us more, Lea.
well, it was warm. It blew. But what I wanted to say is, for you guys' enjoyment, we do not have an electric fan on right now because it would be too loud.
It's only been a year of your podcasting career and you're already getting intimate with the fans.
I'm getting fanned.
Okay, I'm sorry this intro turned into like weather complaint corner. I just wanted to make a spring reference.
Yeah.
Or maybe summer court reference because...
Teasing for this episode.
Or maybe you just wanted to set the mood and we start off with hating Tamlin already.
Perfect.
Before we get into the episode.
Well, to get into hating Tamlin mood, does someone want to give us a little recap?
Absolutely not.
I mean, I could, but do you really want that? I'm running on 2 hours of sleep here.
Okay.
Okay, I can...
I think we can both do it. Come on, Meike. We can bounce back.
We did
from
3
each other.
chapters. That was like the main thing of last episode. So, Feyre and Tamlin had a fight because Feyre wanted to be included and kind of had an emotional breakout and was like, oh, you're drowning me with your mood. And then he's like, oh, that is so much emotional damage on me. And then he like lashes out with his power
Yeah.
and destroys the study and doesn't hurt her.
No.
Only because she used a force shield
Yes.
like made of wind.
Uh-huh.
Because that apparently is also one of her powers.
Yeah.
And then...
Tamlin apologizes and is like, I'll do better. And it's like 2 centuries less or something.
Right, then Rhysand appears, takes her to Night Court for her second week there. And then Feyre refuses to work with him because she doesn't want to anger Tamlin. Because she likes the new normal they have, which is just fucked up.
I feel like Feyre is very depressed in her week there. And in the end, Rhysand kind of loses it and also acts shitty. Rhysand brings her back and Tamlin has completely lost his marbles. And that's basically where we jump.
He had marbles to lose?
Well, the few marbles he like gathered up with the few concessions he made, they are completely gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's where we start chapter 12. Feyre is only allowed to walk inside of the house. And of course, Tamlin basically immediately leaves her alone again. But Ianthe is back as a companion or protector. No one really knows. Maybe she knows, but she doesn't tell us. But the whole royal household has left. So the manor is pretty much empty, or the servants are kind of hiding. And not only the manor is empty, but also Feyre feels very empty inside and truly dreads if this is to be her eternal life now. But at least she's reading a lot.
Yeah, she's a reader now.
That made me kind of happy for her.
Yeah, same. It felt very relatable and made her very likable. Yay.
Slayer.
But Feyre's powers reach a new high when Tamlin returns from his whatever trip. He returns, but only regards her with a little kiss on her brow, and then immediately heads into another meeting in his study where she isn't allowed to attend.
With Lucian and Ianthe, and this is where I want to teach you, our listeners, a new word in German. Because I read it and I was like, oh, Tamlin's entourage of Arschkriecher is back. Which
True.
basically just means...
Ass crawler.
Yes. And I think Arschkriecher is just... It feels more aggressive.
It also feels more slimy. Like they are people who like bow to someone and be like, I think lich, spit, spittles, spit, lich, spittles. That's the word. Or maybe that's just the surname of Alfred in The Hobbit.
Both
Honestly,
the same
I'm
thing.
not sure. But, well, now you know what it means, ass crawler. And I think for the last few chapters, it just encapsulates Lucian and Ianthe perfectly. They just do what Tamlin wants, and they don't do what Feyre wants, and they're so annoying. And when the book mentioned them being, like the three of them being together, I was just like, Tamlin and his Arschkriecher.
Yeah, they're kind of the anti-golden trio. We don't have a golden trio yet, but they are definitely the anti-golden trio. But Feyre is very angry and triggered, and as a reflex, her fingernails grow into talons. And Lucian sees this, and he kind of takes her aside, and then he promises he will try to convince Tamlin to let her train, because he's like, well, if you can't control your powers, everybody can see, and that doesn't help anybody. So, yeah, very sound reasoning, and I was kind of hopeful. Lucian is kind of trying.
Yeah.
But does that confirm that Feyre has a beast form?
I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Or will get a beast form?
I'm
Kitty
not
Feyre?
so sure how I like her getting his claws. Because, I don't know, that kind of feels
Unsanitary.
icky. But when the book mentioned that, I just thought, is she gonna scratch him with that at some point? Like, he
Meow.
never controlled his claws around her, or like had a hard time controlling her claws. And then in book 4, there will be a moment where she is purposefully transforming her fingers and then scratches him.
Kaiju battle.
That would be sick.
But in like...
Not a sexy way. A punishment. A fight. Because he's evil. He's the villain in book 4. I'm holding to that last... Well, maybe it's not a last straw. These chapters might...
But interesting note that his claws grow from between his knuckles, kind of like Wolverine or something. And with her, it's her fingernails. Which is the exact same thing, now that I say it, as his clone in, I think, X-Men 2, X2. She has, like, fingernail claws.
He has a clone.
He has 2 clones.
What?
There's X-23, that's in Logan, the movie, that's a clone of his. And then in X2, I don't know if she's a clone or just someone who has the same mutation, but she also has these metal claws and an adamantium skeleton. But her claws are like her fingernails. Interesting parallel. I just noticed. What I wanted to point out is that it's different.
The fairy tale of this book is Wolverine.
X-Men. I mean, it kind of is. They have to train the powers.
Training the powers is exclusively an X-Men story.
Well, maybe she goes to a school in Night Court and then
She
it's
goes to the X-Men school.
No, the power learning school in Night Court.
Going to a magic school to learn your powers is exclusively an X-Men trope.
Yes.
Okay.
Harry Potter is just in
Well, that's
X-Men
magic
universe.
and not powers. That's something completely different.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's not like they explicitly call it magic in ACOMAF.
I don't care. She's a mutant. Because she wasn't born like this.
She just mutated.
I wanted to go on a side note here. While she's talking with Lucian, she kind of casually mentions in her mind descriptions what kind of dress she's wearing. And it's a fuchsia gown, which is a shade of red. And her trauma is triggered by the color red. And she mentions Ianthe put this dress out for her, which feels kind of shitty.
Isn't it more like pinkish?
Well, I googled it and it said magenta, reddish.
Okay,
It's a
I always
shade
thought
of
it was
red.
kind of like almost salmonish. Maybe I have the wrong color in mind.
I think it's red enough.
It is still a shade of red, though.
I mean, she put the red petals at her wedding,
Yeah.
and now she's putting her in a red dress. Evil lady. I don't like her. Evil lady.
I have a fan theory. Maybe
The hands went up.
Ianthe is just colorblind.
She's like, my God, I'm dressing her in green. What else does she want?
What I find interesting, I just noticed that, I think I imagine Ianthe as a ginger, like as a redhead, which I think it's explicitly mentioned that she might be blonde.
I think like
so, yeah.
pale blonde.
Yeah. And it's interesting that we all kind of remembered Amarantha as a blonde, who is a redhead.
Do you think Ianthe is Amaranth? Oh my
Plot
God, no,
twist of the century.
I ignited something in you, Lukas. Oh no.
This is such a great theory.
No, it's not.
Maybe.
It would be a really bad
Unless
plot
it
twist.
turns out true. Then I'm a genius.
But it still would be a kind of bad plot twist.
Very cursed, yes.
Well, in the evening, Feyre overhears that discussion where Lucian brings up that she should maybe train her powers.
You know, before we get to that, I was very happy to see Lucian finally be an ally to Feyre again.
Yeah.
And the way he talked to her was very nice to read. Like, the amount of times he was repeating, I will try to talk to him tonight, was just very honest. Like, he was like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm gonna try to talk to him, but that's all I can do. Like, I can try, but he probably won't listen. But I will do it anyways for you, because you deserve that. And that just made me love Lucian
I
again.
mean, Lucian could try to stop being an Arschkriecher and actually go against Tamlin's will.
Well, maybe we'll get there
But what
at some
should
point.
he do? Do you think he could secretly train Feyre? Like, yeah, maybe he would be capable of
I
that.
think if he would really see Feyre's issues, his only chance would be to, like, take her away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that's hard for him.
Yeah, I agree. I found it very comforting that he was like, hey, I will try to do it. But at the same time, it's kind of sad that that's the only option. Like, because it acknowledges that it's not really a true possibility to talk to him or to convince him. Like, I'll try to do it.
And it just really highlights how they are not kind of like a family. I feel like in the ending of book 1, the way she said, I'm returning home, kind of felt like she's returning to this place her newfound family now lives.
Especially with Lucian calling them to dinner.
Right. And now they are not a family. Like, Tamlin is the patriarch and he has the last say and everyone does what he wants, no matter what it is and if it's good for the person it's about or not. So
Yeah.
it's kind of sad this whole home thing is totally gone.
He is an absolute ruler.
Yeah.
Well, in the evening, she overhears that discussion where he brings that up.
But before that,
Yes.
does she overhear them? Because I was just kind of confused about how it was, like, written or printed in the book, because there are no quotes that indicate speech. All she hears is written in cursive, is written in italics. So I thought maybe she accidentally used her mind-reading powers to spy on that conversation.
Well, it is kind of told in retrospective. She's kind of like remembering the conversation. But you're right, like with the strategy of writing it down, I guess, she could easily like hide the thoughts and she would probably not be able to distinguish them, except if like feelings are connected to the thoughts. Because when she entered Lucian's mind, she really felt him and his emotional state. But I like this idea. Because I was also a little bit confused.
Yeah, me too. But it's right. Whenever she converses with Rhysand in her mind, it's also written in cursive.
Yeah.
And it's not like she's digging deep to hear some thoughts they think, but she like, maybe she would be too far away to hear the actual words, but she can hear the thoughts they think, because obviously they think the thoughts they speak.
Yeah, I see what you
You know,
mean.
and it would be easy to get those because they are on the very top of the mind layer.
That would be sick. I was just actually surprised Lucian talked to Tamlin the moment he got the chance to do it. I kind of expected him to wait a little. But he could have waited until Ianthe is not there. I mean, we know he doesn't really trust her and kind of holds a grudge. So talking about the emotional state of Tamlin's fiancé, he could have done that without her.
Yeah, the thing is we do not hear the whole discussion. And at the end of this discussion, I did feel like, well, he could have tried harder, like had better arguments. Because I didn't feel like he went all out in what I would have said. There are even better arguments here. Like he didn't say, well, they will see it anyways. He was just like, well, she can like fend off enemies, I guess.
Yeah. What would you have said? Maybe let's do a little role-playing session.
Okay.
I'm Tamlin. Grumble, grumble.
Well, Tamlin, first of all, I think you should drink some cough juice. But we have to talk. We have to talk about your fiancé. Vera.
Is she Beyonce?
Oh, my fiancé. I just shredded her clothes yesterday. What about her?
Yeah, I saw that. The thing is, she can shred your clothes now too. I have seen another outburst of her powers.
No.
She now has talons. And, she cannot control her powers. And, if people see that, people will know that she has powers. If your reason is that when she trains, people will see that she has powers, they will see anyways. So she should train them.
Well, Lucian, I see your point. But the answer is no.
Why, though?
Because I said so. He's
No.
very trustworthy, not evil. No, 100% not evil. High Priestess Ianthe.
I know you guys are best friends, but let's try to have Feyre's best interest in mind, and she's really struggling. I see her half dead walking this garden. I know you don't because we're always away, but at least I look at her.
Well.
You only visit her at night when it's dark and you can't see her.
Oh my, shots fired.
I mean, you sleep with her every night. Don't you notice that you can feel her fucking bones? Because she's starving to death. I'm sorry, I had to say that.
Well, as Amarantha and Ianthe and I discussed, it would be really the best solution to just keep it all bottled up inside of her. Also, I think Feyre could just try getting over it.
Snap, snap.
Thank you, Ianthe.
I give up.
See, there would have been no better way to do this argument.
There's no way to win.
Yeah, no, there isn't. But Ianthe does make some points. First of all, she's like, well, assassins might come because she will be a danger, but then she points out another danger, which was horribly concerning, because Feyre might also get kidnapped for quote-unquote breeding purposes. Mm-hmm. Because apparently her would-be children would inherit all of her powers, so also her offspring would be incredibly powerful.
Horrible thought.
Feyre thinks so too.
Honestly, I don't think that's gonna happen. At least I hope so, but I kind of feel like this is maybe too much for this kind of a story. But the mentioning of possible children kind of feels like there could be a child at some point.
They also say, no one would stoop so low. And then Ianthe says, well, someone would. Obviously, Rhysand. And then I have two questions here. Mm-hmm. Do you think at some point in his mind, the thought of a child is some, ulterior motive behind Rhysand's actions currently?
Well, at least I think, given how much they fuck, it's a motive for Tamlin.
That would have been my second question.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I spoiled your second question. Well, I think Tamlin is in it for the child.
I was thinking that, that's where my brain went, as the next logical step. Do you think he's only visiting her at night anymore because he's offspring?
Maybe. He is a lord, and they usually want children, like an heir, no matter the power of the child. Yeah, it could be that he's I want the most powerful children ever, because I'm Tamlin.
And I'm evil.
And Ianthe tells me it would better my position.
Because she's evil, too.
But do you think, Rhysand has that ulterior motive somewhere in his mind? I don't think he would be take this by force. But I can see, because he's still a shady guy and we don't really know him that well. I do think he is motivated by concern about Feyre, but I can see a world where he's and also, if we get along, would be cool.
Maybe I want to give him, the benefit of the doubt and say maybe his motive is not getting her child, but being in her child's range. He doesn't want to father it. He just wants to be close to Feyre so he can, like have one hand on the child. Well, that sounds so wrong. But like Feyre could be a weapon, and then Feyre's child could also be a weapon. So if Feyre doesn't want, he can still be friendly with Feyre, wait for her child, and then maybe kind of make that his weapon.
He wants to be the cool uncle.
Yes, in a way.
That goes back to just like, not even courtly scheming, just courtly relationships where like, this is a powerful family. I'd like to be allies with them because in the future, if they are allies with my family, I will be more powerful like in the long run and not just right now with this person, but forever.
Because I feel like Rhysand is so old, it wouldn't really matter for him the time it would take to like raise that child. Like we would have to conceive it first, but that could happen any time now.
Because they do think Rhysand capable of doing this, Ianthe offers to kind of have him assassinated by some people she got to know overseas. But Lucien kind of dismisses it. Also with the reasoning that, well, Rhysand is who he is, but there might be someone worse taking his place, which I found interesting. Like, this seems like they think Rhysand is the most evil there can be. And then they're like, well, but he's also kind of just that
guy
dude over there. That guy, he's a bit quirky. We don't know what comes next.
But do you think they mean Morrigan?
I hope not.
Because that's kind of what I wondered. Maybe there's a broader past to Morrigan than we know right now.
I think it is
maybe
possible.
She's fucked up.
Well,
It
maybe
would be fun.
It would be fun, but like the ending of this chapter kind of could be read as Morrigan not being too cruel.
No.
Spoiler, she's in this chapter. My lady.
I mean, maybe she's not like cruel, but like Tamlin and Ianthe are the people we don't agree with, and if they think Morrigan is bad, that could just mean she's done some insane things that we might interpret as good, you know?
Okay, I can live with that.
I think Morrigan has the potential to be very unpredictable, which they could be like, at least we know Rhysand, we know what he's doing. We can like gather where he might be coming from. And with Morrigan, they're like, what the fuck is this crazy bitch? And we're like, oh, Morrigan is so fun. She's just a bit quirky.
This is one sentence Ianthe says that is just very telling for her character, I think. Because she goes like, the poison he whispers into Feyre's ears while she is doing the exact same thing to Tamlin.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this sentence is just proving to the readers, like us, that Ianthe is shady and this is what she does. She's slipping poison into Tamlin's thoughts, making this whole situation worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just a very uncomfortable woman.
Yeah, I don't like her.
Well, Tamlin obviously says no and dismisses Lucien's plea. And he kind of solidifies that with a magical attack on Lucien. Like, what happened? Feyre kind of thinks she can't imagine what face Lucien must have made so that Tamlin would react with a magical burst that shudders the whole house. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Tamlin? Like, he was just talking to you. Why are you attacking him now?
He's backstabbing him. His bro is backstabbing him. Oh God, I hate Tamlin.
After overhearing that, Feyre locked her door that night, so Tamlin cannot visit her.
She locks her door. We're like basically back to day one.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he didn't come visit. And on some level, I was sad about that because I really wanted him to stand in front of this locked door so he feels some kind of consequences for his actions and
know
might
what?
get to sit.
He would have broken that door in.
Yeah, I thought about
think
that
so
too. He would think, oh no, she's doing something
Maybe
bad.
Rhysand has gotten to her. Maybe he's in that room.
I think it was the better way that he didn't come there because I do agree. I think he would have broken that door down. Like, it's not really that I have hope for Tamlin, but I guess I'm approaching this situation with like some kind of common sense where I would think like, ooh, if he tries to open the door, he notices she's locked it. And then he will think, why might she have locked it? She doesn't want me there. Why? Oh, I said some pretty horrible things. I should rethink my life. But I guess that doesn't happen.
Maybe that would work. Yeah, but there's this one quote that pretty much summarizes the oof of this part of the chapter. Tamlin didn't seek me out that night. I wondered if he, Ianthe, and Lucien were still debating my future.
Big oof.
I mean, we even had the thought that maybe Tamlin is just a sexist, and that's why he doesn't include Feyre and shit, but like, he includes Ianthe,
But she is a priestess. She is a woman of religion. She can be trusted.
I guess. She's a scheming woman.
But she's using her fertility and fuck magic to enhance the lands. She's a good person.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Fuck magic.
That's the thing. Like, I was about to say, she is a religious woman, so she is demure and, like, I don't know, not fucky. But she is. That's not the religion they follow. We have coined a new adjective.
Fucky.
Or is it an adverb? In a fucky way.
It's everything.
She's the high priestess of the church of fucky. Where can I apply? Have I finally found my way to religion?
First question, who is your pope? Second question, would that position be called pope?
I think the position would be called poke. And it's something like Kristen Stewart.
Okay. Kirsten Stewart, come on the pod.
Come on the pot and poke around a bit.
No, you will cut that out.
No.
Please.
No.
Please.
No.
You're like Damien. You always say no.
No.
On the next day, we get more of Feyre's despair as she
Nice.
walks the garden like so many times before. But on her walkabout, she decides she will now ask Tamlin for anything to do, just anything. It doesn't even have to be useful, just something to do. But when she returns to the home, Tamlin and Lucien are on their way out because there is some activity at the western coast.
At least he says like where he's going. I
Yay!
guess that's the first time that happens. Maybe he is trying. But honestly, like the quote is, the study door slung open and Tamlin and Lucien emerged, both heavily armed. I just imagined them with machine guns. In like full Chuck Norris, Arnold Schwarzenegger attire. Like ready to kick some ass.
You know, fun little detail I noticed. I don't know if it's useful or anything, but when they said Western Coast, I was like, how far is the Western Coast? Then I opened my map. It is not located where Springcourt Manor is, so I wasn't able to find out how far Western Coast is. But what I noticed is that on the Western Coast, there's like a little mountain, and this little mountain has a little spring flower on it. And then in like the east, there's also a little mountain, and it also has a little flower on it. And the other mountains in the other courts do not have flowers on them. At first I was like, oh, well, okay, the flower is like a spring thing, and then the other mountains will be themed. But the other mountains are not themed. They're just mountains. There's nothing on them. So
What's your
Springcourt
point?
has mountains marked with flowers. So I'm
I-
saying those two mountains will be important.
Okay. And what's your point? How did we get here?
My point is that those two places are marked,
By flowers.
so it means those places will be important at some point in this book. Whatever magical is happening at the Western Coast is going to be important. And then something else will happen at the Eastern Coast. So that's what I'm saying.
So
Maybe-
you think they go to the Crocus Mountain?
No,
Or is that in the
West.
east? What's the western flower?
I don't know.
just some flower.
They
flower
go to
in the
we-
west, flower in the east.
So I think obviously they're going to the Western Mountain, to the Flower Mountain, and that's where they meet up with the Highburn people because they're evil.
Do you think, because there's this whole tunnel system under Prythian, there might be fast travel between these mountains and they are marked by the flowers because it's like the spring fast travel. And Tamlin will give the King of Highburn like, here's your route through Prythian. You don't have to traverse the sea for reasons.
Wow.
Ha. Ha.
Or it could just be a fun detail.
Yeah.
I
But
don't know.
I think it is kind of important to point out for those people who do not have the map right in front of their eyes, the western coast is on the side of Highburn, so kind of danger zone.
Yeah.
When Feyre hears this, she immediately asks if she can join the two men and ride with them, or they're not even riding. I guess they're running because they have their full powers now. But Tamlin says no, and then Feyre's like, I could just follow them in secret. But Tamlin sees right through her and is like, oh, don't even think about it.
Okay. Does he see right through her? Or is he reading her mind?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But, I mean, she is kind of well-versed in her mind shield currently, right?
Yeah, I guess she would have noticed.
But maybe she's so desperate she once again forgot. I don't know.
Or he's just that good. Well, they talk about like, oh, you're too traumatized, you cannot come. And they basically talk about how he is just as broken as she is. Or rather, if you want to turn it around, she is just as capable as he is. And Feyre decides that she will just not take no for an answer.
This is like the worst kind of argument you can have, where you use someone else's insecurities and trauma as an insult. I think this is like the lowest point they can get. They're having no constructive arguments anymore. It's not even about feelings. It's just insulting the other person because you don't get what you want. That's very unhealthy.
Well, you might think this is the lowest point they can get. You think wrong. Because Tamlin simply leaves this discussion and Feyre tries to follow, but slams into an invisible wall. Let's talk about
the
it.
wall.
Finally, the wall.
Well, yes, finally. Tamlin finally made Feyre's worst fear come true.
Yeah.
He actually imprisoned her. Again.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah, I felt truly heartbroken with her. Like, she rasps his name in disbelief. And I was like, oh, he didn't.
Fuck Tamlin. And I think that's where Feyre realizes that the only fucking reason that Tamlin does not want her to be trained in these powers is that he can be more powerful than her. That he can control her, that he can lock her up in his fucking house. And that's just the worst fucking behavior ever.
Yeah, because she tries to break the wall.
Yeah.
And I think she even says, if I had been trained more, I would be able to break it, but I cannot.
Well, and Lucian is like standing at the bottom of the stairs, looking up at her, and I feel like he's set up to be at least a mediator, if not a traitor to Tamlin.
I hope so.
But right now he's still loyal, and he tries to bring Tamlin on a better path, and he obviously doesn't approve of what Tamlin is doing. And like the quote says, Lucian remained at the foot of the stairs, his face so pale. So he hasn't reached his point of disobedience yet. But it's like, I feel like this is the point to act right now.
You know what? Our theory with the two flower mountains, I let it marinate a bit in my brain for the last few minutes. And I think this theory might be ready for Conspiracy Corner. Like, maybe we're actually onto something there. Like,
I love how you say we. This is a communist podcast.
Of course it is. It is our podcast.
No, go on.
Because if we actually assume that Tamlin is evil and they kind of hatched a plan to ally with the King of Fireburn, like, that makes a lot of sense. That, like, the actual reason why he does not want to include Feyre in his shenanigans is that he just doesn't want Feyre to see that he's in cahoots with the King of Fireburn. Like, it's been alluded to the fact that Tamlin not only is an asshole, but he also, like, deliberately lies.
Yeah.
Like, he does not want to include it, and maybe that's part of the reason, because he's in cahoots. And it would actually make sense that it even is this shortcut thingy from the Western Mountain to the Eastern Mountain to give the King of Fireburn, like, a shortcut through Prythian, because Sarah J. Maas, and by that Tamlin, has never mentioned where he actually went. But this time it is specifically mentioned that he's going to the Pacific coast of Prythian, and, you know, it just kind of feels like a small but smart setup for this exact plan. He's meeting up with the army and he's helping them to get through to the other side, the Atlantic coast of Prythian, to, you know, sail over to Europe, because maybe he, like, struck a deal with the King of Fireburn that he's like, okay, man, I will just help you get through if you leave us the fuck alone. End of my conspiracy.
I really appreciate your coastal jokes, but since Prythian is very much British, it's like, I always forget which ocean is which, but, like, should the East Coast be the Atlantic coast?
In my analogy, Prythian was America, just for reasons, okay? What do you think of my great theory, regardless of the ocean terminology?
Well, it is kind of all our last discoveries combined, so I think you're right. But it is like, it's starting to get more succinct. The clues are gathering or something. The plot thickens.
I'm so sold.
Just like I was that Tamlin was Feyre's father.
We still don't know if he is.
Jesus Christ.
No, that's her. That's Feyre.
Is Tamlin God?
Yes.
Thankfully, not.
And you know who the new number 1 general in the Highborn army is? That's right, Feyre's mom.
Amarantha. But it turns out the windows are barred as well. Like the invisible border wall, whatever the fuck, is surrounding this whole house. And then she tries to winnow away, but she doesn't really know how. And then she still tries to do it anyways, and her powers take over. There was nothing, and I had become nothing, and I couldn't ever get out. Someone was shouting my name from far away. Alice, Alice. But I was ensconced in a cocoon of darkness and fire and ice and wind, a cocoon that melted the ring of my finger until the golden ore dripped away into the void, the emerald tumbling after it. I wrapped that raging force around myself as if it could keep the walls from crushing me entirely, and maybe buy me the tiniest sip of air. I couldn't get out. I couldn't get out. I couldn't get out.
You know, it sounds very dramatic, but I was smiling from ear to ear this whole scene because it's just so cool. It's so cinematic, and her fear feels so real, and it's just so awesome. Like, she melts that fucking engagement ring off. Like, holy shit, yes, girl.
Yeah.
The symbolism.
Lucas and I
Iconic.
were reading it together, like sitting next to each other and reading in our separate books. And I think I was just like, oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah, Meike is always the faster reader.
And I was spoiling everything for you. Like, I didn't tell you what was happening, but it was very obvious something would happen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But it is a very cool scene, even though it's very sad. But it is kind of empowering still. Like, it is overwhelmingly empowering, but it's still like
She's so
literally
powerful.
empowering, yeah.
And this is it. This is the end of Elk Kitty.
Finally!
I mean, I feel sorry for Feyre, but I'm so happy that this
For us?
relationship with Tamlin is over.
Yeah, I really think, like, we made it. We made it through the worst Tamlin part.
Yeah, and I feel very validated about our Tamlin hate. Like, in book 1, it was still valid, but I kind of feared, like, oh, where is this taking us?
Yeah.
Like, I think we should try to accept this because this seems to be the thing. But no. He is a little fuck! I hate him! Go away! In the end, though, Feyre is saved by 2 women, Alice and Morrigan. Very happy about that.
Yes. Sorry, that sounded very feral.
Valid, though.
The end of Elk Kitty also makes me feral. It's okay.
Oh, just the thought of Morrigan made me very feral.
Oh, okay.
It's the M people. Mahogany, Morrigan.
But she's blonde.
Yes, I know. I can forgive her.
For her, Meike would go blonde.
I mean, for her, Meike would accept blonde. This is actually the greatest honor. If you're blonde and Meike still likes you, like, there's only been one person in the world who received this honor, and that's Lea sitting here right now.
Only love to you, Michael.
Yes. Only love to you too. But stop it now. Every blonde person will stop listening to this podcast or send me death threats.
No, I mean, you don't know them.
Maybe I could love them. I love you, blonde person. I love you almost as much as I love Lea. Only almost.
Well, Morrigan carries Feyre out of that manor and into a cave, and Feyre starts to panic, and I started panicking with her because, you know, there is a new place on that map next to Under the Mountain, and I was like, so maybe there's a reason we might be going back. But we're not. They resurface in Summercourt.
You know, I loved the last sentence Alice said before they vanished.
Yeah.
Because you was like, I didn't write the sentence down, but I think it's like, take care of her. Or don't hurt her? Does she say don't hurt her? I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna use my book and look it up. Alice says, please take care of her. And I think it is not meant in a way like, please don't hurt her because you're dangerous and evil. It's more like, please take more care of her than he did. Because Alice knows Feyre was not happy, and a lot of that came from Tamlin. Like, she was traumatized by someone else, but Tamlin was just the reason for her not getting better.
To me, at this moment, it even kind of felt like she called them. I mean, I don't think that is true. I think they came of their own accord. But that's why I said she's saved by 2 women, because it kind of feels like Alice is like, I can't reach her, Hey, Rhysand, help! Shit's burning.
Yeah, and I mean, she's not doing anything. Like, I don't mean Alice could fight Morrigan.
No.
But she's not standing in her way and is like, no, I'm gonna call Tamlin back or something like that. She's just like, take her and please take better care of her.
Yeah.
So they do resurface in Summer Court, and in Summer Court, Rhysand is waiting.
And I was so confused.
Yeah.
Well, it is explained to us a little bit later.
Yeah.
It's Fae bureaucracy.
It's like explained on the next page, basically. But for like the last paragraph, I was so confused. I was just reading it like, what?
Rhysand takes Feyre into his arms, and they turn into night, where Feyre can finally breathe and is seduced into sleep, quote unquote. And I know we have kind of sent El Kitty on their way now. Like, we have said goodbye. But I do have some kind of final words for them. Because what I noticed is, yeah, they're both traumatized. And they both act according to their trauma. But Feyre always tries to think about, what do my actions make Tamlin feel? And Tamlin never seems to think about what his actions might make Feyre feel. And I think that is the core difference and the core problem between them.
Yeah, you're right.
And when they will meet again, and she's this full-fledged warrior that now has to fight him because he is helping the King of Hybern, because obviously our theory is right. This will be so juicy.
I can even see how Tamlin is working together with the King of Hybern. We already covered that. But then maybe the King of Hybern stabs him in the back and, I don't know, betrays Tamlin, whatever. And then Night Court and whatever other allies fight the King of Hybern. Feyre is there on the front lines, and then she saves Tamlin. Not because she wants to save him, but she wants to defeat this army. And then Tamlin sees her in action and is like, fucking Jesus. Not anymore.
I think this is my favorite chapter so far. I had others I liked because it was action-packed or something like that, but this chapter just felt very fulfilling. I was angry at Tamlin, which I always like. And then it had a bit of action, it had a bit of intrigue, it had a bit of Lucian being a bro again, and, you know, this ending, breaking free from him in Spring Court and kicking off this new plot. Awesome.
I agree.
And then, in chapter 13, Feyre wakes up in Night Court with Rhysand on a chair by her side. And he is very angry for a moment, but he kind of lets his rage fade for relief and exhaustion. And I'm kind of a little bit wary of his rage because I feel like we have had enough rage, but as long as he can keep it away from her, I guess I'm fine with it.
Yeah, you know what? I think there are like two types of people. And one of them is a type I have a problem with, and the other is okay. And this one
Blonde
type...
people and brown-haired people.
No, this one type is someone who is angry because something made them angry or someone, but they cannot speak about their anger at this person to this person, so they kind of complain to someone else, but sort of forget that the person they're talking to and complaining to is not the one responsible for their anger and their fear and their hate and sadness, so they kind of lash out on them because they confuse this feeling. And Rhysand knows he's angry, but he knows he's not angry at Feyre, he's angry at Tamlin, and he's not reaching Tamlin right now. So he's not angry in this moment. Like, he looks at Feyre and he gets angry because it's like, oh no, she's looking so thin and sad and whatever. But I'm not angry at her. It's not her fault she's looking at this, so...
I think he has every reason to be angry. I mean, we are angry.
Yes!
So well done with his anger management, and maybe it just happens to coincide with their hair color.
Maybe! You know, Tamlin and I were just never meant to be.
I feel like Rhysand is very caring toward her right now, and I really like that. Like, he immediately assures her that she didn't hurt anyone. He also explains, like, what the fuck went on. Like, he explained that Morrigan had to get her and carry her on foot basically all the way to a different court so that Rhysand could then teleport them away, because otherwise Tamlin would have reasons for war. So I guess good that he didn't just breach some treaties, I guess.
Yeah, it's good he followed protocol, but also that rule kind of doesn't make any sense.
No.
Like, any member of Night Court can kidnap someone from another court, and it's okay. But if the High Lord does it, it's not okay?
I just think it's like a magic reason. Like, he has this treaty, this bargain that specifically states he gets her for 1 week a month, And if he were to go in there and take her from Spring Court for an additional week, then this would have some magical consequences.
No, I think he says it would mean war between them.
Yes, maybe a magical war that like automatically kicks off.
We still don't really know what kind of consequences it has when you break a deal.
A magical war.
So it is possible that just if you break a deal, that's reasons for war, and then we go to war.
Okay.
A magical war.
But also, what I felt kind of considerate, he's like, you can stay here for as long as you like, but I will also bring you back as soon as you want to. Like, no pressure either way, kinda.
Yeah, that's good.
And, like, I didn't expect him to be like that.
Yeah, it would have been easy for him to just be like, no, you're not going back there. You saw how dangerous he is, how evil he is to you, and blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah, and I feel like that's very regarding of her feelings. What I found interesting, though, is that Feyre's like, I have nowhere else to go. And first of all, I understand why she wants to stay at Night Court, because she had some good times there lately. Like, or at least some not miserable times. But then I thought, nowhere else to go? Couldn't you go home to your family? Like, they're rich now. You wouldn't starve.
yeah, she's probably afraid to go back because now she's so changed.
I guess.
I feel like Nesta would maybe like her a bit more. Like maybe Nesta would be a little jealous even.
And
but
fascinated.
She'd be like, yeah, she'd be fascinated. Just like, oh, you're so cool and heightened in a way. And
I think Elaine would be afraid.
maybe, yeah.
And her father,
Wouldn't
I don't
care.
know, would die. But yeah, that was just a thought I had.
Yeah, I wonder if like Spring Court kind of was somewhere she just stayed because she had to. I think at some point Tamlin even offers, like, you can leave the mansion and just go somewhere in Spring Court. And she's like, where should I go, bro? And this is kind of like here, and then Spring Court turned home. And maybe at some point Night Court will turn home. She's switching homes pretty quickly.
Yeah. And then Rhysand asks her to work for him in return for him to let her stay there. And first I was like, okay, you need payment for that? What the fuck, bro? But then I was like, he will give her something to do. First of all, that's a good thing right now.
Yeah.
And she won't feel like a charity case, which is also a good thing. And at this point, Feyre still kind of feels for Tamlin, and she kind of hopes that he will get over his fears. But she also acknowledges that if she had stayed, she fully would have broken. And so she has reached that point of, I can't stay there anymore.
Finally.
Best sentence ever. I'm not going back.
And then Rhysand and Feyre kind of talk about her powers a little bit. And apparently he hasn't given her wings, but maybe she has gotten Tamlin's shapeshifting and can make her own wings. And then they can fly together, yay!
I'm so looking forward to that.
Do you think the bird on the cover is Feyre?
That would be so epic.
Yes, but the bird on the cover still has like this wedding ring.
But it's not wearing it. It's just like holding it as if to throw it away.
And the thing is, like, if this bird is Feyre, then she has carried that ring.
Yeah.
Just not as a bird.
Or maybe it even is Jurian's ring. Like
Yeah.
if that's gonna be the mission.
But if you think about her fingernail talons, or claws, these claws are more like talons. Like a bird's talons. Arr.
I like this theory. I feel like we're making some great theory work in this episode.
It's
It's been a while. But yeah, Rhysand is about to leave for business, and Feyre is about to be left alone again. So she now asks him if she can join him. And he contemplates this for a while, but then agrees with the condition that everything she sees and hears would need to stay a secret. So if she would join him, she would eventually have to lie to Tamlin and Lucien. I think it's reasonable for him to think about that and be like, okay, I didn't offer this to you before, and because I don't want you to have to lie to the people you love. But now that you want to do this, I'm not saying no, I'm just saying think about then you will have to lie. So also kind of beige to green flag. Not really green flag, but like...
Tamlin could never.
No, he wouldn't.
It's again a bit on the nose how they compare
Yeah.
in this book, but I like how he has an actual reason for not immediately being like, yeah, sure, come along.
Yeah.
But do you think he actually thinks she will be useful?
Yes.
Yes. Like maybe not on this exact journey
Yeah.
because like he had plans to go there without her.
Yeah.
So there has to be a reason he's
that's what I
going.
meant. I feel like eventually
Yeah.
he obviously sees the potential.
I think he just doesn't think it hurts to bring her along.
Yeah. I mean, she will learn stuff.
Right. She's getting out there and seeing the world. Like she has not seen anything except for Springcourt Manor and Under the Mountain.
Yeah.
She hasn't been out in Prythian. She's a high fae and she has not seen the world, basically.
And that also means that we haven't been out in Prythian.
Yes.
Show me everything, Rhysand, please.
Well, what he will show you is Valaris, the city of starlight.
Ooh.
Because Feyre agrees to his terms and conditions, and they head out. The city of starlight just sounds so rad. I'm so hyped. I'm ready to see some shit.
City of Starlight.
Yeah. I haven't seen this movie.
Well, I gotta say, I've read the name Valaris somewhere.
On the map?
Yeah, I know, but like before.
Okay.
Like I think even in book 1, like I've read this somewhere in context.
Didn't you say this playlist you listen to while you're reading? It says...
Yeah, so I listen to like an Akutar Ambience playlist to read and to take notes sometimes. And I think like in that description it like kind of says Valaris. And I thought it was a character. Because I feel like that would be a cool character name.
Yeah, you're right.
So I even wanted to have this whole Rhysand thing of when is Valaris going to show up? Is this Valaris? Is that Valaris? I even considered that this bird on the cover might be Valaris. But no, it's a pretty interesting turn of events that Valaris is a place. Because, like, this is the first time we've had, like, a named city.
Yeah. And
It
then we
was-
have a city at
Yeah.
all.
It's not a court, it's a city.
Yeah. And Feyre, I feel like Feyre is just as excited as we are to explore the city, which is kind of cool, like, sentiment. I feel like we're on the same level with the protagonist right now to be like, oh, we need to see this. I want to see this. This sounds so cool.
Yes.
But this chapter does not end with them winnowing away, but they actually do arrive in Valaris, which is not in starlight, but bathed in sunlight. And they arrive in a townhouse, which is a bit smaller than the manor and Springcourt. And it has a comfortable sitting room with a black marble fireplace on the one side and a dining room for 10 people on the other side. And this is where we leave these two.
I think this is either where we meet a very cool new character, like
Valaris.
Rhysand is introducing us to the person who lives there, who's
What
maybe, I
if-
don't know, a noble.
What if Valaris is just the guy who founded the city and the city was named after him and he's still alive?
Valaris, the cool bird guy who likes
Yeah.
stars.
King Valaris, Lord Valaris.
Or it is actually Rhysand's townhouse, like his sort of vacation house. Because I think the way it's described kind of made me again draw a parallel to Tamlin, where Feyre has never seen his bedroom. She's about to marry this guy and she has never seen his bedroom, and maybe now Rhysand, this just random nice dude, like nice in like the way he's treating her right now, not in the context of this whole book, is showing her maybe his private place where he's like, oh, this is my refuge to think and have a nice time. I would like that.
Yeah. The thing is, he said like Night Court is under this mountain, like this mountain where like his cool loft is placed, where she has spent her times at Night Court. And like Valaris, like a city, seems like you would do business and organizational stuff there.
But maybe you can also have fun. Like maybe
Yeah.
go to a concert or a bar or see a play.
Yeah. Then what is like, is Night Court just like the royal household, or like I'm then confused what is happening in Night Court and what is happening in the cities, because like the court is this whole place, like it's the whole land that he's ruling, but is also the thing under his mountain. That sounds somehow wrong.
I guess you have to differentiate between the court in like basically the state in Prythian, and then the court as a place, basically like a capital city or maybe just a capital mansion, sort of where you do the ruling. That's how I read it.
Yeah, I'm very confused about this. But I think you might be right.
But that's why I'm like, okay, if this is a city where business is conducted, it would make sense if he's actually ruling. He wouldn't need to be with like his courtly people, but with like the business people that are in the city and not like the royal household that is, I don't know, chilling under that mountain.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what kind of city this is, because Feyre says probably under Amarantha's rule, every city would have been destroyed. I don't really know where she's getting that from, but I'm just going to believe her on this, kind of.
I guess maybe context clues, because like all the villages in Springcourt have been destroyed.
So I'm wondering if Velaris is maybe like a rebel city, like where people kind of fought against her rule. Or maybe if it's a hidden city, like Amarantha didn't know it existed because it's, I don't know, under a magical barrier. Do you think maybe different kind of fae live there?
Ooh.
I don't know
What
why
kind
that would
of
be.
fae?
Starlight fae.
Aww.
I mean, he talked about like night active fae.
Right. Maybe that's why it's called City of Starlight, because the city awakes at like night.
Which means, which speaks to your cultural hub, because like nightlife.
So just life.
Yep.
I think the vampires live there. I'm just calling it right. I'm having a lot of calls in this episode, but this is like my big call.
If
this is the vampire
vampires
city.
would show up, I would be so happy. Have you taken a look on the next page?
Yes, I cheated.
Well, I mean, you have to kind of go on turning the page to see if like the chapter goes on.
Yeah, I mean, technically what follows next is not part of this episode anymore, but we're gonna talk about it, right?
Yes.
It's such a short thingy.
We all took a little peek, a little sneak peek, and it bears the words Part 2, The House of Wind.
Yes!
So we have left the House of Beasts behind us.
That is to say, the House of Tamlin. Maybe Ianthe is the second beast.
Ooh.
Honestly, I think all of them are beasts.
Yeah.
Like in part 1, everyone sucks. Like Feyre is the biggest victim, but she also sucks.
Yeah.
Because she just cannot communicate, and then she fails at, like, I don't know, blame her too much, but I think just everyone in part 1
It's beastly.
Yeah, but if they are also beastly, they should just embrace the suck.
They did too much.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Does that mean that Rhysand is the wind?
That's the thing. Like, this kind of sounds like she will return to this mountain villa, whatever, because it's very breezy, windy,
I
whatever.
have a few theories on what this could mean.
Hit us.
So in chapter 13, we didn't talk about it. It's not a very big thing, but we learned that her wind power, which she used to make the shield, might have come from Daycourt.
True.
So that could mean that we're going to Daycourt for business. It could also mean that they are gonna fly because of her transformation, that she's gonna learn how to fly. And, you know, flying means freedom, and she now is free because she's out of the House of Beasts. It could also just mean, like in general, the new wind, like wind change.
It's a wind of change.
A new breeze coming in, and the plot is moving forward, and things are changing up, ticking up speed.
I like it.
Sounds very promising.
Yes.
Yes.
House of Wind.
I think it's safe to say we are all very sold. We're very happy by the end. Or we are very happy about the way this part has ended. And very looking forward to the
Very
next.
satisfying.
Yes. And I think we're all looking forward to explore this world finally together with Feyre. And not just by wandering from one part of this continent to another, but by actually doing some important shenanigans.
Yeah.
We will be heading into the second part in 2 weeks.
Into the city of Starlight.
Yes. And if you would join us, then we would be very happy. But if you would like to spend your in-between time with a little bit more Getting Fae'd content, you can head on over to our social media pages on Instagram and TikTok at Getting Fae'd Pod, where you can find some reels and outtakes and memes and other announcements, I guess.
If you liked our unhinged theories this time, you can just go back and listen to our bonus episode, because that is full of just unhingedness. You can listen to that on repeat. There's no story.
So do we.
And also, if you happen to attend a cool nightish vampire party on the weekend, maybe a fun topic to talk about is podcast recommendations. And then you can recommend Getting Fae'd, because I think in the next episode we will obviously be swooning over all the new vampire characters that this book will introduce.
Yes. You can also slide into our DMs if you want to comment on our theories or put in your own, but please don't send any spoilers if you know if these theories are true or not, because that would kind of destroy this whole podcasting concept, and I think no one of us would like that. And if you liked what you heard here, we would also be very happy about a review. If we made you happy today, that would make us happy.
Yes.
And then we can all be happy together the next time when we are getting Fae'd!